while we're here in Steam maintenance, something that I kind of wanted to talk about. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I want to grab a couple of things real quick. Give me 1 second. So let's see. So it was this clip right here. Which this is. I mean, this is just the quality on this is horrendous, right? It was this Brian F clip right here. Brian F, by the way, amazing. Love the not just the Trash Talk podcast, but also just like, I mean, you obviously, if you're watching anything related to Street Fighter 6, you probably know who Brian F is, right? But it's like awesome, so cool, right? And like all the tournament coverage he did during the CPT, like half of the players who got qualified, I would not have known anything about them or the story for them to get there if it wasn't for him, right? But let's see.
He's being
so main man Sui, who is like a really big Tekken content creator, was in his chat being like, yo, the Tekken 8 season 2 patch is like, I love Seijan, but one step to the left. All right. But yeah, main man was in his chat, right? Yeah, he looks great with the beard. He was in his chat, big Tekken content creator, being like, hey, Tekken 8 season 2 is like fucking awful. Someone please help, right? Like I'm thinking of picking up Street Fighter 6. Like, who should I play? Stuff like that, right? And this is what Brian said in response.
Oh shit! Even main man SWE's being a Tekken refugee. Listen, brother, if the whole reason Tekken players are trying to jump ship is because they are tired of having forced mix-ups with 50-50s, you're gonna find no peace in these streets, my man. None at all.
I'll just let him finish the point here first.
They just turned your game into Street Fighter 6.
It is very funny that this happens immediately after, right?
Here we go. Bonchan, show, please demonstrate. Please demonstrate what I mean. Please demonstrate exactly what I mean. Please, thank you. Case in point.
Okay. So that's really funny, right? It's great. Like, it's very funny comedic timing for him too, to be like, if you don't like 50-50s, don't play Street Fighter 6 because, like, this game, throw loops are a big problem, obviously 50-50, all of that. And then, like, literally as he's talking about it, right, Bonchan just like throw loops a dude for like, gotcha good. He gets throw looped like 4 times in a row, finally gets his throw and dies for it, right? So like it's certainly a funny clip, right? Maintenance is done, sure. Wonder which Tekkens are on Fightcade? Not sure. I played Tekken 4 yesterday on a PlayStation 2 emulator. I played that shit on the hardest difficulty because I thought it would be funny, and like the AI just input reads the shit out of you, right? Bonchan's a comedic genius, yeah. But I want to talk about this for a little bit, right? Because I think like while that is a funny clip, I think it's important to realize that this is not true, right? Like, all due respects to Brian F, the GOAT, but like, I think he's making a joke here to an extent, right? Like, the existence of 50-50s is not the problem with Tekken 8 Season 2, right? Now, I'm gonna say this as someone, I don't play Tekken, but I've been, interested enough in the situation, I've been keeping up with, like, some videos that, different people, like Little Majin or Main Man, right, or FDX, stuff like that, have been talking about it. The mere existence of the 50-50s is not the problem, right? Because Tekken has had like 50-50 vortexes off knockdowns for like a long time, right? King inherently, for example, like if you weren't like sidestepping the throws, something like that, you were in like a 50-50 on what it looks like. The most obvious example is Kazuya, right? Kazuya has the Mishima, like the Hell Sweep versus forward 4, right, when he knocks you down, is like a looping 50-50, and you just have to guess, right? You have to guess whether the Kazuya player is like if they got a good waifu, you don't have any time to do anything else besides, are they going to forward 4 my ass, or are they going to hell sweep me, right? So the very existence of the 50-50s is not the problem, right? Now throw loops are the problem, right? Throw loops are not good, but I don't like it very much. However, right, to call what Tekken 8 Season 2 did to Tekken the equivalent of turning it into Street Fighter 6, I think is a little facetious. Because what it actually is not that it's 50-50s, it's that, imagine if, you're playing Street Fighter 6, your favorite fighting game right now, and the guy goes, round 1, start, and you are immediately in that throw loop situation. And also, instead of the throw doing, like 2,000 damage, or whatever the hell, it did half your HP. And the other option also did half your HP, right? And yes, exactly. And I actually want to, like, because I feel like the reason I'm bringing this up is like, I love Brian F, great guy. I think he, like, this, I see people talking about this in the Tekken subreddit and stuff like that. And like, I feel like I just want to make sure people don't lose context on just how badly they fucked the game up, right? Street Fighter 6 is not Tekken 8 Season 2. It really isn't, right? And again, just, I'm taking a lot of footage from different people here, but FDX also amazing Tekken content creator, super nice guy from what I can tell from the videos too, right? But he shows a bunch of clips here. Let me mute the my Street Fighter 6 in the background here real quick. Don't mind me. Let me just get that down. Like, he shows a couple of the examples of, he goes in really deep depth on, like, you know, a Steve 50-50, which we can look at for a second, right? But the idea is he shows a move of Steve's that is like, I think it's quarter circle forward 1+2 or something like that. I don't actually play Tekken, so you have to forgive my ignorance. But basically, it leads into a situation that is +11 on block, puts you in a 50-50, and both options of the 50-50 do like half your health if you get it wrong, right? So again, this is significantly more volatile and significantly more explosive than throw loops, right? Now again, right? These are already like too good, right? These are already too strong. Like, these throw loops as they exist are not really a good balanced decision, I think, right? I think Brian's point was more like, you don't know why you dislike the Tekken patch. It's not just the very concept of 50-50s. Maybe. I think this is not me trying to like come at Brian or anything like that. Far from it. I love the guy. I love all of the videos of his that I've seen, right? But it's just more so trying to use that like funny clip as like a launching point to just really give some context on, like, you know, throw loops are already pretty bad, right? Throw loops are not good. I think at this point, like, pretty unanimously, no one is really happy about these things being in the game. From like a competitive standpoint, from like a just fun standpoint, from a viewership standpoint, no one is a really big fan of throw loops as they currently exist in Street Fighter 6, right? But I suppose the main thing I want to talk about here is the idea that not all 50-50s are created equal, right? Not all 50-50s are created equal. One thing that you could equivocate, for example, the throw loops in Street Fighter 6 to the 50-50s in Tekken 8 Season 2, right, is that, to my understanding, well, I know this to be a fact for, you know, the throw loops in Street Fighter 6, but to my understanding also, for a lot of those sort of looping 50-50 situations in Tekken 8 Season 2, the guy running the offense takes very little risk on, right? Like, even if you guess correctly, you really don't do anything to him. All you do is, like, you get to just maybe get back to safety to an extent, right? Which is very similar to throws. Like, if you're the guy running the throw loop offense, realistically, outside of them, like, waking up super on your throw or something like that, you're really not in any danger at all, right? If they throw tech, you know, successfully, you go all the way back to here, and they're still in the corner, and if they jump it, you can usually anti-air them and keep them down, right? And, like, if you know, sometimes maybe they can catch your shimmy, depending on how good the throw loop is and what character is doing the throw loop, right? Like, so you can maybe take on a little bit of risk trying to go for the shimmy. Even then, most of the time, if your shimmy gets caught, you block something and keep going, right? So, in that sense, they're true. The difference, though, again, is just how many interactions you have to be wrong on to just explode, right? So the risk the attacker is taking on is, you know, equally low in Tekken and in Street Fighter 6, right? But the reward the attacker gets for being correct, like, imagine if every single one of these throws, instead of doing 1200, if they did, like, you know, I mean, people are actually, like, damage went up so much in the Tekken Season 2 patch as well, man, that, like, you know, the characters have 180 health. You're taking like 100 damage per like wrong combo that you guess, especially like everyone's got wall carry, everyone's got everything in Season 2, to what I understand, right? So imagine if every time you decided to take the throw, instead of taking 1200 damage, 12% of your HP bar, if every single throw, right, was this instead, right? If every single throw did this much damage, bonk. If every single throw in Street Fighter 6, when you got throw looped, did this to you instead, this is more so what we're looking at for Tekken 8 Season 2, right? And like, that's why the balance is so egregious, right? So, again, I just wanted to kind of use those two clips there of the, you know, VDX talking about some of the crazier shit that's in Tekken 8 Season 2, and that one, like, funny Brian F. clip about, you know, how the Tekken refugees will find no solace from 50-50s in Street Fighter 6, which is true, right? It's true. But again, it's the very existence of 50-50s was never the problem, right? Again, Tekken players have been totally okay with the Kazuya, you know, hell sweep or forward 50-50. It's been in the game for, I don't know, probably what since like Tekken 3 or 4 or 5. But it's, you know, it's been there for almost 2 decades, maybe more than 2 decades, right? So people are fine with 50-50s. It's the difference between, you know, again, throw loops doing that when they hit you, or throw loops doing this when they hit you, right? And both, so, you know, if you take the throw, you take half your HP bar, and if you shimmy, if you take the shimmy, you take half your HP bar. There's no video game being played here, right? Like, again, this is not a defense of throw loops. Throw loops are bad. Throw loops are not good. I'm not a big fan of throw loops, right? But even compared to throw loops being quite a not good part of Street Fighter 6, the Tekken 8 Season 2 balance patch is just so far beyond the pale in comparison, in my own personal opinion, right? Like we talked about, it's actually really funny because I put out that video about there's nothing wrong with lowering the barrier to entry in fighting games. And we talked about how people are talking about that they're trying to make it so that these bad players can still win, and they can still take games off much better players because they think that's what's going to make them people who don't play the genre, and that's not actually what's going to happen and all of that. And I was like, that's like a fair point, right? But like, who is doing this, right? Like, what modern fighting games are doing this, right? Granblue's not doing that. Street Fighter 6 isn't doing that. At the time, this was a day before the Tekken 8 balance patch came out. I think it was the day that it came out, right? And I wasn't aware yet. Tekken wasn't doing that. We're like, yes, the games were offensively favored, but certainly, I made the joke. What I thought at the time was me being like facetious and telling a joke about how like, if the devs just gave everyone like unreactable moves that did like 10,000 damage, then yeah, fair enough. I'd be on board with people complaining about the direction that modern fighting games were going in, and that they were trying to just like remove the skill ceiling, right? And make it so that no matter how bad you were at the video game, you had a fighting chance even against some of the best players, right? And I was like, but these guys are fighting ghosts. It doesn't exist. Well, it does. Now again, this is not going to turn into a whole video on just talking about the Tekken 8 patch, because people who play the game, people who know way more about it, and can talk about it in a much more educated standpoint than I can. But to my understanding, that patch is not the casual patch either, though, right? Like, no one likes that, like, at all levels of skill, like, that patch isn't good for anyone, right? I mean, maybe you could make the argument that it was, like, some, misguidedly, the Tekken 8 team thought that would make it the casual patch, right? But, like, realistically, think about it for a second here, right? Now, if you are not interested in Tekken, I'm sorry, we're almost done, right? But as a guy with a passing, I'm a Tekken casual. I'm bad at Tekken, right? But if I were to think about it for a second, we buffed defense guys is the big joke, right? But they did in some ways. They buffed sidesteps, they changed a lot of Oki situations to be easier to deal with for the attacker and stuff like that. That stuff that casuals don't do. Casuals, as far as I'm aware in Tekken, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't sidestep. Right? They don't even use sidesteps. They don't even really think about like the get-up mind game and how that could work, right? Realistically, for this patch, the only part of the patch that the casuals are going to interact with is the buffed offense, right? So like the thing that makes Tekken very inhospitable to a lot of people's minds as new players is just how knowledge check heavy it is, and the sort of the image, which may not be correct, I don't think it is, but it's the image that it has that you have to have been playing Tekken for like 10 years to have any idea what the fuck you're doing, right? There's all this legacy knowledge that goes into it and all of this. Now that's, I don't think, true, but if anything, this patch doubled down on that, right? Because now it's like every character has these insane 50-50s and shit like that, and if you don't know the one, and there's only one option that gets you out of them, right? So if you don't know that one option, you're gonna take 7,000 damage and fucking die, right? So, as a sort of addendum to that, turns out that one developer out there did decide to give everyone unreactable situations that, like, kill you on hit, basically. But even then, I don't think that's really lowering the barrier to entry for anyone, right? I could be in full agreement that is just, what the fuck is that patch? But I don't think that's making the game more casual friendly, right? I've seen some more casual players talk about how they aren't interested in the Tekken 8 Season 2 patch. Yeah, I don't think anyone is, right? So, anyway. I saw this clip on Reddit as I was scrolling yesterday, and I was just like, this is funny, but like I do feel like some people who don't play Street Fighter 6, or just like who are more outside of the sphere, they might take this a little too seriously. Brian has a point, certainly, in that if you don't like 50-50s, you're not going to be safe in Street Fighter 6. I mean, if you don't like 50-50s, you're not going to be safe in Tekken 8 Season 1, or Tekken 7, or Tekken 6, or Tekken 5, right? That's not the point, right? That's not the point. Yeah. Anyway, maintenance should be over, so let's go hop back on ranked here, I think.